Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. On today's show, I've got an awesome guest. I had a great time talking to him. His name is John McEuen of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Man, I love those guys. He was with them for over 50 years. He's going solo now, still touring and doing shows. He's got a brand new album coming out next month on April 12th. It's a spoken word album. And you say, what's that all about? Well, there's music he's playing in the background, but he's telling stories and reading poems and things like that. And it's really awesome to listen to. He really puts a lot into it, and he's painting a picture, and you're listening to the stories, and it's just so cool. Stories from years ago, some, from Civil War period. Very cool. I think he's going to start a trend with that. And it's sure to win some awards. I'm just saying, very good album. You need to check it out. But it's called The Newsman. Going to be out April 12th. And we're going to talk about that and his career and a lot more. Of course, he's friends with Steve Martin. Got to talk about him too. So here we go. Here he is. Here's John McEuen. Of course, we're going to talk about the brand new album you got coming out next month, right? Called The Newsman, a spoken word album.
Yeah.
That's
I,
really cool.
have you heard any of it?
Yeah, I've been listening to it. I listened to a little bit of it the other day, and then last night I just laid there in the bed listening to it and letting it soak in, and I was like, wow. I don't think I've experienced something like that before. It was really cool. It was really like it was painting a picture. You were telling the stories and reciting the poems and and things like that, and it was just it really.
It's so tough. It's difficult to tell people what this is.
Yeah,
It sounds like, oh, poems. I don't want to hear poems, but no, they aren't poems. There are poems. They aren't poems. No, they're stories
just
with music
stories.
behind them, and each one has a different type of music that is crafted for that particular story. It's like little movie scores or something. And
And they're
have you
good.
heard this? Have you heard Sam McGee yet?
Yes, that's one of my favorites. I really like that one.
Yeah.
And but see, the thing is, you're not just some guy going, "I think I'll read this," and you're reciting it. You bring the feeling and the emotion because you're acting out like the part, and you're like doing the emotions of the character, and you're making people think about, "Oh, what's going on here? It's not like you're reading and people are like going to sleep. They're kind of at the edge of their seat, kind of trying to figure out what you're talking about,
Well,
and
that's
they're
nice
getting
to hear.
involved, right?
I spent a lot of time doing so. I do some of them I would do, then I'd go back and listen to it months later and go, oh, that's really lame. I could do that better. I could do that better. It's like I'd try and do it better. And then some of them came right out like Old Rivers. That just happened in 2 hours. I was done with that. All the
Right.
instruments and the vocal and everything. That was exciting. But
Right.
have you heard the Old Rivers one?
Yes. Right. And I
Yeah,
and I
and
was I was familiar with the original one, but you did a great job with your version too. That was really good.
yeah, I had to go a different direction than
Hmm.
the original. I felt like the original is a good piece of material that was delivered by Walter Brennan, which was Grandpa and the Real McCoys, and
Right.
he had a great character. But I wanted to do more of I don't know, a folk version or something, guitars and stuff.
Sure.
And one of these days, I'm going to climb that mountain,
Right.
walk up there among clouds, up there where there ain't no fields to plow,
Right.
ain't no fields. It's like I have lived that character, I've thought about that character since I heard the song in 1963, and it was a number three hit too. But I have thought about that, but I never did anything until last October. I recorded it.
Right. And and how would people, you're talking about how do people react to this? How do they take it in now? Because this isn't like your basic album where you pop it in or you're listening to it. It's like you have to just let it soak into you, and it's like something you hear on a radio back in the 50s. I guess that's what you're going for. Maybe you can bring that.
If you're a Garrison Keillor fan, Prairie Home Companion, or if you're, talk radio is very big. It's like huge.
Yeah,
And if you're into rap music, even, because rap is all talk with music behind it.
that's true.
I want to enter this. I want to enter this as a rap album and have it get kicked out in the Grammys. And, hey, that's racist, whatever. You can't kick me out just because. But anyway,
That you,
that's
though,
it's
that's happening. That's happening a lot where different people are doing different genres, and they're trying this. So, you got go for it is what I could say.
well, this genre. I don't know if you remember Music Man, the movie, the play.
Mhm.
You
Right,
got trouble, my friends, right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider
right.
that the hours I spent with Q in my hand are golden. Help me cultivate horse sense and a keen. Anyway, I could go on, but
That's good. That's good.
I learned that. I learned that in high school before I started playing music. And I must have done that 2,000 times. Friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got one, two, three, four, five, six pockets in a table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and it stands for pool. Anyway,
I love it. I
and
love it.
that attitude is I try to carry over into these pieces, these tunes, and some of them were pretty tough to do, like Nui Ba Din, the Vietnam War one,
Right.
and yeah. I'll be glad when they run out of gas. It wasn't hard to do. It was kind of
That was good.
being a country bumpkin. Country bumpkin. I'll be glad when they run out of gas. And I never mind. You talk.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think I
Your
know
turn.
that guy. I know that guy. But
Yeah.
talk. I love musicals and I love songs like that. And this kind of has that musical kind of attitude when you're listening to it. It's like you got the energy. Like you see a musical and they're moving around and they're bringing all that effort into it. This is like a soundtrack almost to that, or a musical, or I don't know. You're painting pictures also with each story that you do, and the music so good. Is that
Okay.
you've done scores before, so that probably inspired you to do a lot of these, right?
Oh yeah, doing film scores, and I felt like I was scoring a part of a movie, but there was no picture
Right,
with these, and it was really really fun to do. I learned a lot from Tommy Lee Jones when I did a music score for him in the '90s, and uh, he said, "I like that piece of music. It's really good, but it's not good for the film." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" It was anytime the music gets attention, it's not doing the job. It's supposed to support what's on the screen. So, and
right,
once, unless it's a scene where there's a big lush theme and a couple people running through a field or something, and there's
right.
no dialogue going on, it's going to support what's. And so I looked at this like I've got to support these words.
Right.
I don't have to dominate them. And I put the little fill licks in between, and and anyway, so that's
Yeah,
kind of the attitude.
it really fit. I mean, how'd you decide exactly what to play? I mean, each track has a certain mood and mode, a certain feel. How did you decide I'm gonna put this in there? How did you figure that?
I don't really. Uh, uh, Desperation was part of it. Like, what am I going to do with this? I've got to record it. Well, maybe let me try that. Maybe that'll work. And uh, I'm sorry, and the Vacant Share song with the Killed at the Ford about the soldier during the Vietnam War. I mean, during the Civil War. 100 years difference there.
A little
Uh,
bit.
Getting shot. The vacant chair song is written during the Civil War, at the right at the end of the Civil War. We shall meet, but we shall miss him. There will be one vacant chair. And it's the music that I put to that seemed to fit the story. And some of the lyric fit the story in a different way. And that was a job. That one was months because I put it together one way and then play it back and oh no, that doesn't work. Oh, maybe this. Oh, I know what I could do. It's like
Right.
it was carving something. It was
Right.
fun. Where on the
Right.
other hand, um, um, the pickleball one about the guy that played pickleball with his guitar, that was just go in and do it in one take. I rehearsed a bunch, but playing the guitar and doing the story about Pineapple John, PJ, it was
Right.
like this is going to be good. It's like Bobby Bear telling this story. I
Right.
gotta, I gotta be that good. I gotta try and be that. I gotta try and be that good as he is. And so sitting there playing and doing that was really a good feeling. To
Yeah.
at the end go, did I get it? To saying to the engineer,
That's
the
right.
guy at the studio. I was recorded that at John Carter's cabin, the
That's awesome.
Cash Cabin studio,
Awesome.
and that was really that was exciting. And
Well, I think you nailed it. It sounded like you nailed it to me.
oh,
So that was good.
and I have enough light. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one of those that makes you think about it. It takes you, it paints a picture, it puts you in the scene, when you're reciting or and you're telling a story or and you're using your certain, I don't know, vowels or something sound. I mean, I don't know. It's just like you're like an actor that is projecting this story, and it really sucks you in. I mean, it really makes you sit there and you don't get bored, is what I'm saying. I mean, people are like,
Oh,
I
good.
bet you they're going to be like,
Oh,
whoa.
good. I'm glad you don't
Um,
get bored.
but that's a good one. I mean, that and they're different. I mean, each one is like, I mean, for me, honestly, to to listen to it, if you listen to them all together like I did, I think, I mean, you could just sit there. I
Hard
was
to
wanting
do.
more. You need like a part two of this soon because I'm thinking, man, I wanted more, and it kind of ran out before I was ready to.
Hallelujah.
I mean, it's
You're
good. It's really good.
you're my kind of interviewer.
Oh, hey,
Enough talking about me. Let's talk about my album. Yeah.
talk about
Okay.
me.
Great.
Yeah. No, that's what you
Yeah.
got to do, But I mean, the thing is, and I was thinking about this now with all that you've done in your career and all the stuff you've done. I mean, you're a very talented guy. You've got all kinds of stories to tell. So you're a storyteller. I mean, that's what you've
I
got.
have
You've got
found
it
that.
within you.
I have found that that is one thing that people like, and I'm really glad of it because when I go out on the road with Les Thompson, he was the original bass player with the Dirt Band. He's the guy that called me to say he was 17. Hey, John, want to come join the new group we're putting together here at the guitar store? We're calling it Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I said, oh, I'll give it a shot. We'll see what it's like. Yeah, well, yeah, Les, okay. And I didn't know 50 years was going to start. Anyway, he's out playing with me now again. It's so
Awesome.
wonderful to have a guy that's 60 years ago. Oh, man, we feel like teenagers. We get out there, we still feel like, well, maybe not teenagers, maybe like we're in our 20s, but
Right.
it's really neat. I don't know what your question was. I
No,
started talking
it's
about left.
that's fine. I was just making a statement, but well, let's go back to that because since we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Hey, I've always wanted to
Yeah,
say that, by the way.
yeah.
Um, now how many instruments do you play? You play a bunch of them.
Well, I play things that aren't occupied. I have guitar, fiddle, mandolin, banjo, lap steel. Uh, I have a koto I played on one recording, the Japanese,
Yeah.
and a dulcimer, but any idiot can play a dulcimer. It's like
Then I can learn that.
it,
Oh,
well, yeah,
so,
that's where it got its name. Is somebody was in one summer, somebody found this instrument and they started playing it, and well, this keeps it from being a dull summer. Dull
very,
summer.
very good. That's going to be your
Uh,
next album of jokes. You're going to have the joke. Uh, Dulcimer sounds like a guy, that lives over here. It's Dulcimer, the guy that has the
all right,
junky
it
yard,
does.
has washing machines in his yard. Yeah, that's Dulcimer. Uh, so tell me about when you were in your younger years, you're figuring out how to play all these instruments and stuff. Why did you decide on the like the banjo and instruments like that? Because that's not, I'm thinking like in California and places like that. And during that time, they want to play like the Beatles and Rolling Stones. Why don't you want to play the banjo?
Because not many people were. And because I saw a group called the Dillards, who were later known as the Darlin family, or who were known at that time as the Darlin family on the Andy Griffith Show. I saw them at a club and they blew my 17-year-old socks right off my feet. And no, they really, Doug Dillard was fantastic. And Rodney Dillard, the singer guitar player, was great. And they were 6 years older than me, but that seemed like another generation. It seems like
Sure.
they weren't like my parents, but they were a little younger, but they were from Missouri and they were different. They were opened up a whole new world. I was a kid in Orange County, California, stuck. It was a very strange place. Growing up behind the orange curtain is what they called it, and
Right.
I had a dog. A lot of kids had dogs, but I had an East German Shepherd actually.
Oh wow.
Uh, East East German. It kept people in my yard, and East German Shepherd kept people
I
in
was I
my
was
yard.
I was waiting for.
And I started working in Disneyland out in Garden Grove, California, before the Dirt Band started, and it's been a good deal. Then Les called me up to try out that band, and 50 years later, I left. He
That's all.
left
Just wow.
10 or 12 years later, and 8 years ago, I called him. He's out playing with me. We're doing a bunch of my favorite and his favorite old Dirt Band songs, along with music from "Will the Circle Be Unbroken" album, and more music from that than ever.
Sure. There's some great songs. I was always a fan of Mr. Bojangles was my favorite song. I
Yeah,
love that.
I I actually I can't wait to get on the road next week and go out and play Bojangles for some people that feel the same way. I mean, it's
So
kind of
good.
hard at home. At home, I can't say to my wife, "Honey, you want to hear the song about the dead dog again?" It's
Sure. Uh, she's
his
probably heard it
dog up and
10,000 times.
died, up and died. Yeah, I thought that was the dog's name, Up and Died. His
Up and
dog,
down.
Up and Died.
I thought something crawled up and died, and there's a smell, or that's what I always think about. I don't know why I think that. That's sad. It's a sad. That song though, talking about painting the picture and stories. I think about this guy in a
Yeah,
jail and he's
yeah,
dancing, and it paints a picture
yes.
though, and I guess that's what it's all about. With that instrumentation, it wouldn't work with a rock song. It wouldn't work with any other style. That it works with that, right?
I think so. It's it. You have to have this. You have to have the style not get in the way of the words,
Sure.
and and it, but then that's hard to say. Any other style? What rap music is that a style? Well, it is to the rappers,
Yeah.
and but they do a lot of words. I don't think people are going to be sitting around the campfire and for 20 years going, "Hey, mother," doing put a cap inside his head and pop him up, gonna break him, whatever. Some of
Yeah.
the negative rap.
Well, like you said,
Let's
I
do the
mean,
one about the dead hog. Huh?
That's right. Let's do it. What? Well, you're not going to be. You can't picture somebody, like in a nursing home, like in the future, going. Let's sing about the one where we shoot the people in the gang and the. Like, I don't think so, pal. Yeah, you don't. You can't dance to that. I find. I tried. You can't slow dance and stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, hey, let's talk about this now because talking about playing the banjo now, I got to bring this up because now I know you're friends with Steve Martin. Did you show him how to play banjo, or did he already know how to play?
No, we were learning at the same time. I was learning faster.
Ah,
I
so you
learned.
surpassed him.
He was so into it too. He'd come by after work, like at midnight, 1 in the morning, because our job took till late at night at Disneyland at the magic shop. We didn't start playing until a year and a half into that job. 16 years old, 17 and a half, 18. Where the banjo, the Doug Dillard has walked into my through my, oh wow. I went to see the Dillard so much. My mom said, "You ought to change your last name to Dillard." I said, "Okay." Anyway, so Steve is nice enough to say that I taught him how to play, and I think that's sweet. But he learned on his own. Uh, learned a lot. Learned a lot to where in 2009 I produced an album on him called The
Awesome.
Crow, and we won a Grammy.
Yay! Awesome. That's
It
an
was
accomplishment.
really
I'm just saying. That's saying a lot. I mean, that's saying a lot for you and for just your playing and just everything about producing and everything. Um, now I was looking at an album the other day with when he did the song King Tut, which I loved when I was a little kid. I remember my favorite line was he gave his life for tourism. I thought nobody. I mean that Steve Martin kills me, man. I mean he's so subtle. People don't really. I don't think a lot of people understand how funny that guy is. But now y'all worked on that, right? With the King Tut in the background and your brother too, right?
yeah. That was well, that was a dirt band. He came to excuse me. He came to a show in L.A. at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion and said, "Hey, I got an idea for a song. You do this, and you do this, you do this, and okay. When I go King Tut, you go King Tut, and we had it all worked out. We went out and did it that night at the show, and it was a sold out 2,500 people, and they went nuts. They'd never heard it. The first performance of it. My brother, who was managing Steve, well, he lived in Aspen, and so did Steve, and so did the couple dirt band guy. Anyway, a week later, we're in Aspen, Colorado, and Bill had a studio, and he said, "Let's record King Tut." So we recorded King Tut, and in 7 hours, Bill had it recorded, mixed, and mastered, and ready to go. And the record company wouldn't put it out.
Wow.
The record company said, "No, we're not doing a comedy single. No, it's not. No, we don't want to do a comedy single. We don't want to." So Bill McEuen was my brother, and he managed Steve and the Dirt Band. Bill sent maybe 25 copies out on acetates. Those are black records, everybody. With
Right.
the only last about 25 plays,
Right.
and BC and in Boston, Quixie in Atlanta, LS, Cincinnati, KRP, and it was just they all started playing it, and by the third week, it was in the top 20. The one station, it was number 8. One, it was like, and they're calling the record company saying, "How many King Tut records have you sold?" "What? It's not a single. We don't have it out as a single." "Well, we're playing it." And they hang up. "How many King Tut records? How many King Tuts have you sold?" Because in those days they went by phone calls, response, phone calls 4, response 2, and record sales, and what was the fourth one? Oh, anyway, and they had no record sales,
Right.
but it was still going up the sheets because people were loving it. And so they put it out and it did 1.5 million units.
There was something about it though. I think at that time, I don't know, just just his comedy, and there was something different. I think it was just so funny to me. And Saturday Night
You know,
Live was big.
you just reminded me that that was a talking record, a talking
Mm.
blues song. And you don't think of it. "Ah, I got thank you. I'm going to use that
They use
for
that.
now. Yeah, King Tut. And
That's it.
yeah, Tut
Yeah,
Tut.
that's good. Very interesting. That's good. But yeah, love that. Love the King Tut. And uh when I die, don't think I'm a nut. Don't want no fancy funeral. Just one like old King Tut. I mean, I
I
love it. I love it.
got a
Love it. Love
Comet donut.
it. See, I was fractured on that, man. In the dancing when he was doing, and the it's just hilarious guy. Always a
We did
fan. I'm
that
glad.
on we did that on
Oh,
Saturday Night Live with him. That was great. Saturday Night Live with, and then we backed up Randy Newman on a couple songs. And
right. That's
a lot of
you've done a lot of those kind of shows, and I know. I think he hosted the Tonight Show. I think one time, and you and came out and played the banjo, and right. So I mean that's a lot of fun times through the years. I think you're playing on all these shows and things like that, and people recognize you. I saw y'all at
scary,
Farm Aid.
scary, scary
Oh,
thing to do a solo TV show like that. I mean, because you spend all day. Well, first of all, you spend all week going, I got the Tonight Show booked. I got the Tonight. Okay, calm down. Because you're going to go out there for 4 to 7 minutes and play to more people than you'll ever play to on the road. I mean, at that time, the Tonight Show was broadcasting to 12 million people, 12 to 18 million.
right,
And it's just really like, ah, in other TV is doing a song and playing with a band. That's like nothing. It's like, oh, okay,
sure.
yeah. But doing that solo thing is a real challenge. It's like making me itch just thinking about it.
He's breaking out in a rash. Um, so what's been the reaction to some of the people, some of your friends, and the people that have heard this new album? Though, have they've been really into it? What have they said about it?
Well, friends are always going to often say something nice album or whatever, but not many people have heard the whole thing. I
Okay,
but the cut I sent one guy 2 cuts. Kevin Nealon I sent 1 cut, and no, I sent him two, and he really loves it. But it now is an album, you know. It's now a
there
actual
it is.
record. Now going out, and I'm going to see what. And fortunately, the reaction has been like yours. You really appreciate this. I appreciate that. That you
It's
can
really
use
good.
it to go. You can use it to go to sleep to. It really
Oh,
it's
I mean,
hard to do. So,
it's not the fact that it's boring to go to sleep.
no,
It
you
eases your
take it,
mind. It's like ah, you know,
it takes you into the story, and you're listening to the music, and you're drifting off. You're playing pickleball with the guitar, or you're in the Arctic, uh, waiting to get cremated, or whatever. You know, it's fun. In the liner notes, I make a mention about Brooke Shields. You know, I
yeah,
always wanted to meet Brooke. Well, Kevin Nealon was having a birthday party in Hollywood once, and I'm there, and a bunch of people are there, and I'm talking to Kevin, and Brooke Shields walks in. I said, Kevin, that's Brooke Shields. He goes, oh yeah, she's a friend. I didn't know she was a friend of yours. How neat. Can you introduce me to her? And he said, yeah, but give her 15. And so 15 minutes later, I had to let the roar die down of people at the party. Oh, Brooke. And he went like this. And I went over, and he said, Brooke, and she goes, oh, you don't have to introduce me to this man. This is John McEuen. And I'm hearing my name coming out of Brooke Shields' mouth was the prettiest thing I'd ever heard. And I said, that's really amazing to me, Brooke. But why do you know my name? And she said when she was in college, 18, 19 years old, she was taking 20, 22 units or so at Princeton, and she was modeling. Boy, was she modeling. She's a good looking woman. And somebody had given her a copy of a 1974 version of me doing Mountain Whippoorwill, the
Oh,
Mountain
wow.
Whippoorwill, which is on there. And I used to listen to that every night because I couldn't go out. There's too much paparazzi stuff outside. I couldn't even go out and get a cup of coffee. So I'd stay in my room, and I lived down wherever it was she lived in Manhattan. And sometimes I'd listen twice a night. I'd go to sleep with that. And I said,
Wow.
why didn't you call?
She never told you. She kept it to
Yeah.
herself for all those years. But
We traded autographs, and that was fun. And I got one for my daughter, and she was 5 years older than my daughter, and she was always a great role model, for a young girl growing up to
sure,
have an adult person.
sure.
She never did, never flashed herself or did anything stupid like that.
Right. Well, that
And
says a lot for both of you, though. I mean, for the fame and people knowing who you are, because she's probably as much in awe of you as you were of her. You just
well, I don't know.
didn't realize
I don't know if in awe it wouldn't. If she just thought I was good, that would be great. If she just
it.
knew of me,
Right. Are
I
there anybody else like that that's out there that you would, if you'd be amazed to know that they love your music?
it's happened. I don't know it if I don't know them.
That's a good point.
It's like when somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I saw you on TV last night." It's like, "Yeah, I didn't see you. You did? How do I know?"
How
It's,
did you know that?
but um, yeah, John Fogerty was really that was really pleasant. We were playing a festival once with the John Fogerty was playing at, and boy, he had a tough career. I loved his music from the '60s and all of that stuff. When he got out of Creedence, he found out that his contract said that he could not make recordings that sounded like Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Crazy.
And it was crazy. It took him years to get past that. He played the guitar licks. He wrote the songs, he sang them, and finally he got to where he could make his own records.
Right.
Um, he came up to me at this festival, say, "John McEuen, I've always wanted to meet you. Hey, what?" He went on and on. He was talking about one of my albums and all kinds of things. I thought it was really neat,
That is
really a
cool.
special.
That makes me want
I
to
had no idea.
it makes me want to see the conversation, hear the conversation, and see that moment. When he meets you. That's really exciting. I'd like to meet both of y'all somewhere at an event at the same time. That'd be really cool. Um, well, tell me
Leon
this though.
Russell was like
Yeah, go ahead.
Leon Russell. Leon Russell was different. I met him in 1966 when he came. He came to see the Dirt Band rehearsing, and I mean, we're a bunch of kids. Les was 17. I was 20, and the other guys were 18 and 19, and playing a bunch of jug band music. And Leon said, "Would you all like to sign with Liberty Records?" And "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Russell," but he'd introduced himself. But he didn't have a name then, other than some people in LA knew of him because he was in the Wrecking Crew, the crew of players that would
Right.
make most of the records. Is about 20 people that they used 5 or 6 or 7 or the different ones. He just finished doing This Diamond Ring for Gary Lewis and the Playboys,
Wow.
and he was headed back to Tulsa. He was a great friend. He got me on the Bill Wyman and Monkey Grip album, and
Oh,
that was
cool.
called yeah. That's what I thought. This is cool. I got to play mandolin, dobro, and banjo, and That was neat.
That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm blabbing here. Have you got any
No,
questions?
it's good. See, I like it's kind of like that album. I'm one of those. I like to hear stories. I like to, it's not just about, the music. It's like the stories and behind the scenes and the what happened and who you met and how happy you were when you did it. It's just fun and exciting to me.
Me too. I've been very lucky. I'm really glad I haven't gotten involved in drugs and stuff.
Right.
I don't ever advertise that, but I think the newsman is starting to speak out. I
That's
never did drugs. I never
that's a
did drugs. I feel sorry for those who did that are dealing with things now because things that you put in your body are going to affect you one way or another. Advil. I take Advil. I
yeah.
take a couple of pills, but uh, anyway, it's like David Crosby did an interview a few years ago. Somebody asked him about drugs, and man, I wish he had said this earlier. Drugs, no good. None of them any good. They did not have any effect that was good. They're bad. He just went
Right.
on. He goes,
Right.
I did a lot of drugs. But he was talking about how it held them back, it got them in trouble, it made them not think clear or maybe too clear, whatever. But anyway, I don't mean to harp
No,
about
that's
that, but
that's totally understandable. And I think about that too a lot of times because you see these. I watch these cop shows where they're getting busted for drugs. I'm thinking it's a young girl or something, and she's just kind of throwing her life away over something that really affects your mind. It don't. It's not you anymore. It takes away from you. It makes you sick. And they don't see that part. So people
I
out there
used to
listening to you could go, I'm
I
going to
used to
listen.
say to people when backstage when the cocaine was going around, I said, "Hey, I thought that stuff was illegal." Oh, it is. It is. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, you know how long a pound of coke lasts? No, how long? A lifetime if you use it fast enough. It was like,
That's
uh-huh. you
you.
know,
That stuff's illegal, and then you go missing. He squealed. No, but I guess everybody knew that everybody was doing that kind of thing back then, right? Everybody
not
was
everybody. I
not
knew
everybody.
people that weren't. Yeah, I knew people that weren't. We were quiet
That's
about it
good. That's good. I'm
because,
glad.
uh, anyway, so you just
No,
do what you do. I'm sorry if what you're doing slows you down or kills you or whatever, but I'm glad if you continue living.
yeah, right, exactly. Um, well, tell me this album though. Are you going to do more of these? This is going to catch on, and people are going to like, I want to do that. You're going to inspire
I
people, and
don't
they're going to go,
know. You do? Will I do more spoken word? I've got a couple that didn't make it, but uh, I I think you say if it's gonna catch on. Hallelujah!
I think
That'd be
so.
great.
I think so.
I think it could, or I wouldn't have made it.
That's
I mean, I
right.
wouldn't have taken the time to make it what I think is very interesting. you I
Right.
something that there's one. Maybe I don't like this one, but I like this one. Maybe I don't like this one now, like I did, but I like this other one better. And this you can. It's something you can drift around with. It's a
Right.
good car. It's a good
Yeah.
motorhome.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
there's 100, let's say 200,000 motorhome subscribers to American Motorhome.
There.
It's it's a good car album if they had CD
It's
players
12
in
o'clock.
cars. Oops, sorry, it's 12 o'clock.
Hey, it's 12.
And anyway, it's I have hopes for it. I hope it gets a Grammy nomination. Just a nomination would be
Sure.
enough. And and then see what happens because that's always up to the actual winning is a complicated process.
Sure.
But
I
anyway,
think I believe that it will. I believe it will win. I believe it's
oh
worthy. It is
yeah,
very worthy.
that's right, baby. It's worthy.
It is worthy.
Oh, I've got a 12 o'clock guy.
You got
Oh,
another interview lined up,
yeah. Scott sent me this list. It's like, yeah, that's great. People want to talk about it. Okay.
right?
Well, can we talk at some other time, Mr. Stuckey?
Sure, sure. We can. Anytime you get ready. I appreciate talking to you. Always a fan. I'm just saying, talking about not worthy.
Oh, oh. Well, thank you.
Well, I thank
Thanks. And
you, and
start.
I'll.
Frank Sinatra said it years ago. Start spreading the news all over
And that's
town. The
what I will
newsman.
do.
The
That's
newsman
another
is
good one, the
out.
newsman. But I will be spreading the news, and I thank you for talking to me, and I think everybody's going to love it, and I'll be telling them all about it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that.
All righty. Well, you have a great day.
Okay. Bye bye.
All right. Bye. And there you have it. Probably one of the coolest people I've ever talked to in my life. John McEuen, such a talented guy. I mean, just talented beyond measure. And great storyteller. I'm telling you, check out his new album, The Newsman, April 12th. Remember that. And I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again very soon. And be sure to keep it right here and listen to all the interviews I got coming up. Hope you enjoy them. Until next time, everybody, always remember to keep the music real.